in order to sort of give us a test the wind a little bit as to how you feel that SWA provides a contributing opportunity to act, I'm going to ask Clarissa to lead us through a little exercise where we get the temperature of how far we've developed.
What I'm proposing that we do now is an exercise which actually makes you get up and move around, which, judging from the body language in this room, would be a very good thing. What I'm going to do is something called the human thermometer. Has anybody ever done a human thermometer? Oh, wow, you're okay. It's mostly new to you. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to get up, and you're going to vote with your feet. I'm going to spell out in the room various positions, and you have to think where you are situated in terms of that position, and you go and stand there. And you stand there, and you stay there. You talk to the other people who have decided to be in the same position as you, and I'm actually going to come along and ask you questions about why you chose to be where you are. Here's how it's going to work. The question is, what do you think Sanitation Water for All should do? After this partnership meeting, what do you think the vision of Sanitation Water for All should be? So this is the big question. And if you think that Sanitation Water for All should just close up shop, shut down, we exit, we've had 2 great high-level meetings, but we're done, I want you to come and stand here. Okay, so everybody think about whether they should stand there. If, on the other hand, you think the opposite, you think that Sanitation Water for All should now grow, it should have a much bigger vision, it should have a huge membership, it should get involved in a lot of new activities, I want you to go stand at that end of the room. If you are in between those 2 positions, and I'm assuming that there might be kind of a lot of people who would be between those 2 positions, I want you to line up. So, for instance, if you are in the middle here, that would mean that you feel that Sanitation and Water for All should consolidate its existing model, but maybe add a few more activities, maybe slightly enlarge its membership. If you think that Sanitation and Water for All should add lots more activities, you should stand a bit further down here. Have I made myself clear? Is anybody confused? You're clear or you're confused? You're good. Put up your hand if you understand the exercise. All right, put up your hand if you've decided where you're going to stand. Okay, that's good. All right, go. Alex McPhail offered to be provocative, so he is standing here at the very end of the thermometer. Are you actually, you're not really down there, are you? Okay, so why are you here?
I think that we need to compress the scope, do fewer things better.
Okay, thank you very much. Very clear. Okay, I'm going to wander through the crowd here. So now I figure that I'm standing here with people who feel we should stick with pretty much the existing model. Not contracting? No? Okay. You're still close to him. Okay. Dominic, do you want to say why you chose to be here?
Because I think we need to consolidate. I think we need to do, as Alex said, a few things better. Monitoring may be one of those key things.
Okay, so you're in consolidate the existing model, but maybe add a couple of bells and whistles.
Yeah. You very pointed response. You say add. I thought we were doing some of this stuff already, but it's true. Today you started a new working group, and so I guess I need to move a little bit more on this side.
It's also making what's done now much clearer. I think that's important.
So this group is really the consolidate the existing model group. All right. Consolidating and improving the existing model.
But I'm here because I would subtract country processes.
Well, I think you should be a bit further down there then. There you go. Idrissa, do you want to say why you're where you are?
Yes, I think there's a lot of commitment that we need now to see those fully implemented. And I think we shouldn't start moving ahead without making sure that those are fully implemented. Okay, I was saying that there's lots of commitment made over the past 2 high-level forums. We need to see those commitments fully implemented before we start looking ahead.
All right, so I'm moving along the thermometer here. So these, I assume, are people who think that we should take the existing model but add to it, expand a little bit. Is that your... Oh, you're in the wrong place. Do you want to speak to why you chose to be here?
Yeah, I think we stick to this model, we consolidate it, make some changes, and do not repeat what others have done it. So do something different.
Okay. And what would you suggest the something different would be?
Well, do not go by all the bullets that's there. So I think we need to focus on what others haven't done. So that's be more on coordination and financing.
Okay, thank you. Why don't I go down here? Why have you chosen to be here?
Oh, it's a good place to stand.
Nice people all around.
Nice people all around, for sure. I think what I've been hearing coming out, because this is my first SWA meeting, is that there have been a lot of commitments that have been made, and we have tried out a lot of new things. But we now need to move that global agenda closer to the countries, and that gives SWA a bit of space to take on a couple of other responsibilities and help the countries to move forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Biomass, do you want to explain why you're here?
I think I'm supposed to be over there. Because when I had, it's actually to consolidate, but I'm also open to the world is evolving, things are happening, and if we need to add one more or two few things to make it more effective, I'm open to that.
Okay. All right. Ananda, do you want to make a short point?
Very short. I think the SWA must think beyond to 2015. That's my...
Okay. Thank you. Now I'm going to take a long walk. There's a big gap. You want to say something first? I'll come back. I just want to find out what these people are thinking. Okay.
Bon, merci bien. Bon, moi, je pense qu'en tant que représentant de gouvernement, je peux être témoin de tous les efforts réalisés jusqu'à présent par SWA. Donc, c'est un processus que j'ai accompagné depuis 2010. Et personnellement, ainsi que mon gouvernement, nous sommes très satisfaits. Ce que nous demandons, c'est de consolider l'acquis. Je pense que SWA a été créé il y a cela 3 années. Donc, on ne peut pas demander à ce partenariat d'aller beaucoup plus vite. Je vous remercie. C'est clair, je pense.
Oui, je crois. Do you want to say something very briefly before I take a long walk down here?
Now, first of all, I always like to be on the ambitious side, so that's why I want to be here. But I see for you an important role in the new Sustainable Development Goal. I think if you want to reach this universal access to water, your group is instrumental, and you have now this contact with those countries. So I want you to be reinforced in that area very much.
Okay. Thank you. Now, there's a huge gap, and then we've got a large group of people down here. Okay, so you are the group that wanted radical change and a big expansion of the vision. Is that right? Or do any of you want to change your mind and move? All right. See if there's a migration. Peter, do you want to explain why?
The reason is very simple. I was there, and I'm aiming at higher level. I want to benefit from other partners from whatever regions they are. Though I'm practicing, already have done a lot of commitments, but I still have to strengthen these commitments by learning from others. So I'm aiming high. Even if there are difficulties, I still have to aim high. So,
okay, thank you. I'll go over here. Would any of you like to speak to why you chose to be here? I'm always looking for gender balance.
Okay, my belief is that SWA is a partnership of many partners with lots of potentials and lots of capacity to reach far. And I think if we took advantage of all this capacity, the partnership can actually go very far. So I think if we captured the different contributions of different partners a bit better and analyze that, maybe we can go far. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Bruce, you're itching to say something? You're itching.
Because I think if we're not standing here, we may not make it. I really think we need to be bold, and that doesn't necessarily mean not moving forward intelligently. But if we aim here, we very might, it's likely we might end up about here. But if we aim in the middle, could be, yeah.
Okay, thanks. So I'm sure there's other people who would like to speak to why they chose to be where they are. But it seems to me that one of the biggest problems, and Darren, I'm sort of looking at you as vice chair, the fact that we've got this big gap. I mean, I think that this exercise really shows to me that there's a bit of a work to do on reaching consensus in the sense that we have luckily we didn't have anybody down at the shut SWA down completely. We have a big bulge here in the consolidate the model, but maybe add one or two things. And then we've got a group of people who really would like us to be very far more bold and visionary. So I think perhaps we can continue with the exercise and go on talking to people, but it seems to me that the closing the gap is perhaps the biggest challenge that we face. Would anybody else like to speak to the closing of the gap? One thing that I didn't ask people here necessarily is what they would choose to add, because obviously there are people in that group who would like to see activities added. One thing we could do is we could take a bit of a sort of, take a bit of the temperature of the types of things that people want to add. Do you want to say something to that? Yeah.
Hi, John Oldfield with WASH Advocates. I run a lobbying organization in Washington, D.C., so I'll try to lobby those of you who are reachable, at least here, by asking you one simple question. You know, like many things, SWA is far from perfect, but in my opinion, it's the best damn thing we have. SWA has the most potential to mainstream WASH far outside the WASH sector. SWA has a potential not just to make WASH a household word within the water sector, but within every sector. That's why I choose to support it. I think that SWA has the potential to get the attention not of finance ministers, but of prime ministers and presidents and heads of state. That's why I'm over here, not because I suggest doing every single thing we've talked about today. I suggest being very tactical, very focused about ways to grow SWA, but show me a better idea. Sort of like the United Nations. Far from perfect, but show me a better idea. Yay! Welcome. Huzzah. Welcome. Good to see you.
Lily, did you want to say something?
I did want to say something. I have to say, just because I've moved up here doesn't mean I'm joining this group, but in fact I just moved to get attention. But I did want to say something positive, I think, which is that I'm not sure that this gap is such a big problem in some ways, because I mean, having chatted to a few of the people down the end there, I don't think it's so much that, you know, that this group down the end is kind of thinking, oh yeah, SWA should just plod along, doing what it's been doing all along, and, you know, that'll be lovely. It's more that, it's more a matter of thinking, what is the route by which SWA can be most effective and most impactful? And so perhaps, you know, our thinking, well, I'm speaking for other people here, but maybe our thinking is more that we should, as Alex said, you know, keep doing more or less what we're doing, or possibly even compress what we're doing, but just think about ways to make that much more effective. And that doesn't mean, you know, we may end up, you know, the partners hopefully may end up contributing more, we may end up thinking about different ways to do things, but I think there may be just questions around whether if we expand our activities a great deal, will we become less effective? So I just didn't want it to seem that the people standing on the end are thinking in a negative way, which I don't think they are.
So maybe we needed to do this in 2 dimensions. That there was this sort of spread from, you know, very visionary to very focused, but we also wanted to talk about sort of depth. We should have asked people to stand on chairs if they felt that we need to do the same thing, but with more focus, more intensity, more impact. Corinne.
I think that's absolutely right, because I stood here because I see it as a stepwise progression and not a giant leap. And so maybe I should move closer that way. But I think you have to stay true to that piece. I'm not there yet, okay? But we have to stay true to what SWA was founded on, but absolutely the depth of partnerships, the geographic range, the sectoral range, there's an awful lot that can be done, and we can expand, but we have to be sensible and we have to be stepwise about it. Otherwise we lose what was started back at the beginning. So I really think that's why I'm here.
So I think I'm also speaking of multiple dimensions, I think perhaps the dimension that we left out was time. Because when I hear these people, they're thinking not just about increasing the scope of the vision, but they're also thinking about the future. So I see many of you people chose to be there because you saw this as something that we should aim for in the future. So I have a question. If we redid this thermometer, but we did it for, you know, what SWA is going to look like in 2 years, what it's going to look like in 5 years, what it's going to look like in 25 years, would that perhaps change where you stand? So should we try that? All right. 2 years from now, when we hold the 2014 partnership meeting, after we've had the 2014 high-level meeting, where do you think SWA ought to be? Should it be small and focused? Should it be focused but with a few extra activities? Or should it be much bigger? 2 years' time, 2014. They're not moving. That tells me something. 2 years from now. So where are you going to stand? All right.
CSO should have a better place than now.
All right. Okay. Did you move?
Not really. No.
Oh. All right. So do you want to tell me why you didn't move? And then I'm going to find somebody who did move and ask them.
Because I saw here the line of in between being very focused and small and keeping its size with some extra activities. Right. And so for me it's a difference of adding activities or making something different or different stuff. So I think myself, or I would like to see SWA in between these two lines, not being much broader.
In 2 years from now.
In 2 years, yes. That's why I'm not over there.
Okay. So did anybody here move? Anybody here move? Oh, you didn't hear it very well. So we're trying to do the thermometer, but taking time into account. So we're now going to take a snapshot of sanitation water for all 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and 25 years from now. So what would where do you think it should be if we're looking at a 2-year time frame? You're still here. Scope of activities. Okay. Dominic, were you?
Yeah. Can we make a distinction in the second dimension, maybe, of how big the secretariat should be, or something like that? Yeah, yeah. So, how big should SWA be? Should be over there. How big should the secretariat be? Should be over there. And so I don't know whether that second dimension is useful.
Okay. Now you lost me on that one. Why don't you tell me what your opinion is? Which is?
The secretariat should be really small, but SWA should be really huge. Yeah.
So, I mean, the question was related to SWA as a whole, as a partnership, in terms of membership, in terms of scope. All right. So 2 years from now, should the membership have enlarged? Should the scope of activities have enlarged? Or should we have stuck with the original model and consolidated and kept our activities small? So how many of you would move? So let me say, let's try this. What would happen 5 years from now? Do you think 5 years from now we should still be using the current model and a small number of activities? Or do you think we should have scaled up the number of activities? Yeah?
I chose this group because I hope within 2 years we don't have a discussion, but it's clear what a difference it can make to have SWA, to be part of the SWA. I hope within 2 years that's clear. We don't have the discussion, the impact. So therefore, I think we have to consolidate further what we are doing at the moment.
All right, Barry, do you want to speak? Okay, short.
Short to the point, but the reason I was right up there is because I have a vision for what SWA can be, and I agree with John, it has enormous potential. Now, if you're only going to be here in year 2, you've got to have a strategic plan for how you're going to grow to there. I think we should be giving SWA a mandate to be ambitious on behalf of all of us in the sector and to develop a strategy which is capable of expanding as and when resources are available and lessons are learned. But it should really be a managed explosion.
A managed explosion, okay. I think perhaps we'll end here. I found this very revealing. particularly the first lineup that we had. And I think it really presents both the opportunities and the challenges that are ahead of us. So, great. And I hand back over to the chair. Where's Glenn? Yeah.
Great, thanks very much. I think we have a tea break coming up. We have some logistical information, but I think what this whole exercise demonstrates is how complex our endeavor is. There are no easy questions, there are no easy answers, but we're working on it. Thanks.